We begin this evening with a bombshell WikiLeaks release that links the government of Saudi Arabia with logistic and financial support to ISIS. And get this, the newly disclosed information did not come from a whistleblower or an arms dealer. No, this time it came from a leaked email from Hillary Clinton.
Here is now another from the latest release of hacked emails from WikiLeaks.
In a private email exchange between Clinton and campaign manager John Podesta back in 2014, Clinton acknowledges Saudi Arabia and Qatar were providing financial and logistical support to the Islamic State.
Hillary Clinton says that the governments of these two countries are funding ISIS.
We need to use our diplomatic and more traditional intelligence assets to bring pressure on the governments of Qatar and Saudi Arabia, which are providing clandestine financial and logistic support to ISIL and other radical Sunni groups in the region.
Needless to say, this is the very same Saudi Arabia and Qatar who have donated north of $30 million to the Clinton Foundation, and the very same Saudi Arabia which struck a record-breaking arms deal with the United States when Hillary Clinton was in charge of the Department of State.
Were the governments funding other radical Sunni groups in the region? Absolutely, and Hillary Clinton should know that very well, because they included funding of radical groups in Libya before and after the overthrow of Gaddafi that contributed to the destabilization there, ultimately leading to the tragedy in Benghazi on September the 11th, 2012.
We came, we saw, he died.
The Hillary Clinton documents released today by WikiLeaks make more clear than ever just how much is at stake in this election. So much corruption.
This is amazing. Check it out. Here are some of the details. The WikiLeaks documents include an email from Hillary Clinton, who was Secretary of State at the time, to John Podesta, who is now her campaign chairman. And Hillary says in the email exchange that the governments of Qatar and Saudi Arabia are providing financial and logistic support to ISIL terrorists and other radical Sunni groups in the region. Wow. But wait a minute. If these governments are supporting terrorism, why the hell would Hillary Clinton accept money from them? Well, they don't call her Crooked Hillary for nothing. And it's no secret that the government of Saudi Arabia is also bankrolling Hillary's presidential campaign. Yes, I know it's illegal. Foreign countries are not allowed to influence the outcome of U.S. elections. But if you haven't figured it out by now, Hillary Clinton is above the law, and she is the ultimate globalist puppet candidate, and she's working for the establishment, and she will accept money from anybody. And not only are the Saudis supporting ISIS, they also funded and trained the 9/11 hijackers. I bet you didn't hear that on CNN, did you? Google search the 28 pages. It finally proves without a doubt that the 9/11 conspiracy theorists were right all along. And the redacted 28 pages from the 9/11 report are now declassified. Well, most of it anyway. 15 of the 19 hijackers were indeed from Saudi Arabia, and they were in contact with members of the Saudi government, including the Saudi royal family, who assisted the 9/11 hijackers. This is an act of war. FBI sources confirm in the 28 pages that the government of Saudi Arabia had connections to al-Qaeda. In fact, we now know that Prince Bandar, the Saudi ambassador to the U.S., well, his name came up multiple times in the 28 pages, including a money transfer of $130,000 from Prince Bandar's family checking account directly to one of the hijackers' Saudi handlers in San Diego. So there you go. We have a direct link from Prince Bandar to the 9/11 hijackers. I think that might be newsworthy, don't you? And don't forget, it was George W. Bush who wanted the 28 pages kept secret.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th. malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty. Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
You know, it was shortly after the attacks on September 11th that the U.S. government grounded all flights coming in and out of the continental United States. Nobody was allowed to fly, unless, of course, you happen to be a member of the Saudi royal family or the bin Laden family, because they were evacuated immediately and allowed to escape before they could be questioned by authorities. And during that same time, President George W. Bush and Prince Bandar, well, they were hanging out together on the White House balcony smoking cigars. I tell you what, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during that moment in history. You know, they used to call Prince Bandar Bandar Bush because of his close relationship to the Bush family. I mean, they used to vacation together. And the Bush White House, they didn't want anybody to find out that their buddies in Saudi Arabia helped carry out 9/11. Bush wants it kept secret. Obama certainly isn't going to do anything about it. And now that we know that Hillary Clinton is all aware of all this, well, she's not going to do anything about it either, as long as the Saudis keep giving her money. And of course, they were rewarded just like everyone else who contributes money to the Clinton Foundation. The biggest arms deal in Saudi Arabia's history happened shortly after donating millions of dollars to Hillary. So when you think about it, the people who were responsible for this are now funding Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign.
It's a bold statement, but Hillary and Obama created and manage ISIS, and they will do anything to distract the public's awareness of this undeniable fact. A fact born of the globalists' insatiable need to create an enemy and control both sides of endless wars and social engineering that add to the New World Order's trillion-dollar treasure chest. But times are changing, and the true enemy of humanity has been exposed. WikiLeaks have been dropping the cannon fodder for the past few days, and among the insults of religious leaders and minorities and communications that could harm national security, and a revelation that Bill Clinton was given $1 million birthday check from Qatar for pay-to-play access in Haiti. At the top of that heap, damning evidence that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, with the aid of Saudi Arabia and Qatar, gave financial and logistical support to the Islamic State and other extremist Sunni groups. The Daily Caller reported Clinton sent the email on August 17, 2014 to Podesta. It was an 8-point plan to defeat ISIS in Iraq and Syria. Clinton's email said that the United States should support Kurdish forces on the ground with U.S. military advisors and avoid the use of a conventional ground operation. The email reads, "While this military-paramilitary operation is moving forward, we need to use our diplomatic and more traditional intelligence assets to bring pressure on the governments of Qatar and Saudi Arabia, which are providing clandestine financial and logistics support to ISIL and other radical Sunni groups in the region." The key phrase being clandestine financial and logistical support. As usual, the United States is funding both sides of the war, just like Henry Ford, Prescott Bush, IBM, and AT&T aided Hitler, just as the CIA backed the Muslim Brotherhood during the Cold War and later funded and created Osama bin Laden. As Counterpunch wrote, former British Foreign Secretary Robin Cook told the House of Commons that Al-Qaeda was unquestionably a product of Western intelligence agencies. Mr. Cook explained that Al-Qaeda, which literally means an abbreviation of the database in Arabic, was originally the computer database of the thousands of Islamic extremists who were trained by the CIA and funded by the Saudis in order to defeat the Russians in Afghanistan. Adding more fuel to the Clinton campaign funeral pyre, Mark Turry, an American arms dealer accused by the DOJ of violating the Arms Export Control Act in when lying to the State Department on official applications, claimed high-level contacts inside and outside the U.S. government requested he explore options to arm opposition fighters as they tried to overthrow Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi. Among the documents and emails he claimed to possess are exchanges with members of Congress, as well as with high-ranking members of the military and State Department employees. Meanwhile, as our criminal government continues to side with the powers that fuel ISIS, a broken ceasefire in Syria creates a growing divide that Secretary of State John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will attempt to mend on Saturday in Switzerland.
Americans voting for president on November 8th must realize that they are voting for peace on planet Earth if they vote for Trump. But if they vote for Hillary, it's war.
Widespread panic is consuming Russia. After holding a nuclear evacuation drill involving 40 million people, Russia is calling all of its citizens living abroad to return home. Russian military leaders are complaining that thousands of ISIS fighters are being allowed to leave Iraq's terror hub in Mosul to join the fight in Syria, as Russia flexes its military muscle in the Middle East by holding joint paratrooper exercises from October 15th through the 26th with Egypt in the coastal city of El Alamein. The globalists are behaving like a cornered dog, and as the pressure ramps up on the criminal ruling elite that have hijacked our republic, here's hoping they will lay down to their true master, the will of the American people. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Brain Force is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brain Force.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're gonna crash, you're gonna feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again until it became sort of a grand puzzle. For example, the L-theanine inside of it, that is activated by the different compounds in the yerba mate that we put inside of it as well. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a car will run on one form of junkie gas, but it runs really good on what it's designed for. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.